In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear brakes in this Subaru Forester. It's located in the rear wheels. I'm going to use a 19mm socket to take the lug nuts off the rear wheel. Usually put the lug nut on the top for the last one. And keep a hand on it when I take it off. All right, we're going to use a 14mm socket to loosen up these caliper bolts. Put the bolts aside. All right, so now that we have those out, we are going to pry the caliper off. Set it up on the top. Careful of that brake hose. You don't want to bend it or pinch it. So set it aside. Also be mindful of this wire. I'm going to use a caliper hanger and just make sure that's secure. So we're going to use the same size socket, 14mm, and we're going to crack these bracket bolts loose and do the other one. All right, and then we're just going to remove them. First thing you want to do is take out this rubber plug. That's going to give you access to the adjuster inside. You want to back that off a little so you can get the rotor off. On this vehicle, you need to rotate it to the bottom to find the adjuster. The adjuster looks like a little gear, and you either go that way or that way to adjust it. You're going to need a tool like this or a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. So you're going to keep turning the stud down, pushing it down until it gets loose enough to come off. So I'm just going to spray it down, a little brake clean. And we're going to clean up the hub. Just try not to hit the studs. Make sure you get around this part really well so that the new rotor fits on nicely. And it doesn't get stuck for the next person. All right, so now we're going to just get the rest of that off, let it air dry. And then we're going to apply some anti-seize lubricant here. You can get the spray or you can get the brush kind. The brush kind's super messy. I recommend the spray. And you just, like spray paint, put it right on. Let that dry. All right, so now I'm going to put my rotor on backwards so that I can brake clean it off because it does have a anti-rust kind of a goo on it. You don't want to put that on with the brake pads. Let that drip dry. Then you gotta spin it around. Put it on that way. I usually put a lug nut on the bottom to hold it on. And then we can also spray this side down. Okay, and then you're just gonna Get the surface really well. All right, at this point you can adjust it. You want it to be just enough to have a little tension as you turn it. So I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go up this time to adjust it up. Still wiggly. That feels pretty good. It might be a little snug. I'm going to back it up once. That's probably good. We'll check it again once the tire's on, and we'll spin it and make sure it goes around and stops about 360. It's really important you put the plug back in. You don't want any water getting in there, ruining the inside there. Don't press too hard, it will go through on these. All right, at this point we have our bracket, caliper bracket here. We're going to look at our new pads, make sure they match our old pads. Same shape, same size, same little notches everywhere. Sometimes you might get a little variation, but they still fit. These are actually identical, so we're good. I also like to keep them where they were, just in case there's a little difference. So I put the new ones next to it. So now we're going to take our tins off. It's another thing we need to check to make sure they look similar and that they fit. And then I like to compare them to each other, because sometimes you got one that's got a weird little something to it. These all look identical, so I don't think we need to worry about that. Makes our job a little easier. Okay, so now we're going to take these off. Use a flathead screwdriver. Just pry it out. You want to clean inside here, and we're going to clean our slides as well. You can get in there with a flathead if you'd like. First to get the chunks if yours has a lot of rust. Alright, so now you just want to wipe the excess dust off. Okay, so now we're going to work on our pins. These should go in and out. They should definitely move. Like this one goes in and out. This one's obviously seized. It's not going out or in. So that's going to be a problem for your caliper. Your brakes are not going to work correctly, so you don't want to put it back in like that. You've got to take this out. You might need a pair of pliers. You don't want to crack your boot. So just pull that back. Again, you don't want water in there. That's what makes it seize like that. Try to get this out. You can use vice grips if that works for you, or a pair of pliers, not vice grips. You can use locking pliers if that works for you, or just a regular pair of pliers. All right. Now we're going to wipe off this grease. Take a look at it. Look for pitting. And we're going to clean up this lip here where the boot grabs onto with our wire brush. Okay, now that that's clean, we're going to put some silicone paste on there, caliper grease. And put that off to the side. So now you want to take this boot off and clean on this lip. If your boot is stuck, you can use a flathead screwdriver and just gently pry it out. All right, so once that's done, you want to take your boot, clean that area that you just took off. You could then go in here with something like this and clean out whatever's hiding inside there. After you're done, you can put some silicone paste in here. And inside the boot. And you're gonna squeeze the boot. Get it in the ribs. Use your pin. Now you're gonna put your boot back on. You don't want too much grease there. So just pop it back on. And put your pin in. You're gonna push in as much as you can. And you want to get the air out. And also attach this boot to the other lip. Now you can do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so we're gonna put some silicone paste in here. Don't put too much, just enough. And then we're gonna put our tins in, the same way we took them out. And now we're ready to install our pads and bracket on the car. So now we're ready to put our bracket on. You're going to want to start both bolts first before you snug them down, and then we're going to torque them. All right, so now we're going to snug these up and torque them to 49 foot-pounds. Okay, so now you're ready to put your brake pads in, and there is nothing crazy about these, so they go right in. So we are going to crack open this bleeder using a 10mm wrench. Before we compress the piston, so now we are compressing the caliper till it stops. I'm using the old pad. Now I'm going to close the bleeder down. Rest that there for a sec. All right, and I'm just going to clean this off. I'm not going to get my boots or anything rubber with the brake clean. Now we can put our caliper on. And then you're going to snug them down and torque them to 20 foot-pounds. I'm holding the slide still with my 17mm wrench right above the boot. Again, don't pinch that boot or break the boot while you're doing this. I'm going to torque it to 20 foot-pounds. All right, once you get that snug, you're going to torque it to 20 foot-pounds. Okay, so now you can take your lug nut off. after we put the wheel on, we're going to want to pump up the brakes, check our master cylinder, see if we need to top it off. If the brake pedal feels fine, then you can take it for a test drive. All right, reinstall your rear wheel. I like to put them on hand tight first before I zip them on, that way they're not cross-threaded. Start with the one on the bottom, and that'll just walk the tire on. Then you're going to go in a star-like pattern and snug it up. We're going to torque these to 89 foot-pounds. Now we're going to torque our rear wheels to 89 foot-pounds in a star-like pattern. I usually check one more time, go all the way around, just to make sure I got them all.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.